Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hope is Not a Plan podcast. I am your host, Kevin Pannell. Today we're tackling a tricky mental hurdle that can trip us up that I mentioned earlier in the week in both big and small decisions, the sunk cost fallacy. For those unfamiliar, the sunk cost fallacies are a tendency to see past investments of time or money or effort as a reason to keep pouring resources into something, even if it's clearly not working out. It's the voice in our head whispering, I've already come this far. I can't quit now. But first, welcome to the Hope is Not a Plan podcast, where we address tough questions head on, face our problems, and highlight our hopes by providing actionable planning steps to improve ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. Now, let's get logged in and get locked on to this episode of the Hope is Not a Plan podcast. Think of that relationship that's dragging you down, the project at work that's a dead end, or even that bad movie you just can't seem to turn off. We've all fallen prey to the sunk cost fallacy at some point in our life. It's a powerful force when those emotions get us, isn't it? Like disappointment, regret, a desire not to feel like we wasted our time. Here's the thing, good listener. Sunk costs are exactly that. They're sunk. They're gone. Dwelling on them clouds our judgment. It also keeps us from making the best choices going forward. So, you're not here for hope, you're here for action and plans, right? So how do we break free from the sunk cost fallacy and make smarter decisions in the future? Here are 4 tips. 1, focus on the future, not the past. Instead of fixating on what you already put in, ask yourself, what are the expected future benefits if I keep going down this path? You got to be honest with yourself. Is this relationship salvageable? Does the project have any chance of success? And that's a very hard one because nobody likes to admit it. I've had projects where we realize organization's not ready, or people are not ready, I'm not ready, the stuff's not ready. And you need to bring those together to a good decision point. But understand that the future is better if we don't keep dwelling on trying to get this thing to work that's not going to work. The second is you got to separate emotions from logic. Man, emotions get us, don't they? You don't have to be robotic, but the sunk cost fallacy thrives on emotional attachment, right? I mentioned jiu-jitsu, love the folks I train with. I'm passionate because it makes you feel good. It's hard. And you get emotionally attached to the whole concept of it. But first you got to take a step back and analyze the situation rationally. Does this fit my lifestyle now? Am I still getting what I initially got out of it? And not just for a hobby or a sport, but at work, right? Like I mentioned in the previous episode, knowing when to step away from something. Knowing what you know now, would you start this project from scratch, right? Objectively. And this is a good way too to do escalations in a project or get key decisions. Is you may have all these emotions out about a certain thing, but the best way to get help from folks that can help push things through or tell you, you know what, you need to give this up, and say, look, I've been doing it this long. We've had to spend this much extra money or time. I've had these injuries. I've done blah, blah, blah. And get some objective perspective, not just emotional attachment. Number 3, embrace the power of cutting your losses. And I'm not saying this as a quitter. I'm not saying go sit on the couch and don't exercise and don't do things for yourself and don't try to get another job or definitely get another job or do other projects. But you've got to embrace it and not just look at quitting as a negative because you're cutting your losses, right? And sometimes the best decision is to walk away from a person, from a job, from a project, from a sport, from a vehicle, whatever. It might feel like giving up, but it's actually a sign of strength and growth. Because remember, we're not just doing this on a whim, on emotion. We're calculating. We're doing our pros and cons. We're doing all these things, and we're acknowledging reality, right? And we're freeing up these resources for better opportunities. Number 4 is reframe your perspective. I know I've gotten help with this, that instead of seeing my past efforts wasted, look at the hundreds of hours I've trained on the mat. I've gotten used to physical confrontation. I'm in better shape. I've made good friends. In the gym, the same thing. At work, I have relationships I mentioned, right? It's not throwing away. They're learning experiences. Every dead end teaches us something valuable. So use those lessons to guide your future choices, not to say, oh, well, I wasted time on that, because it's not. It's all knowledge, right? Quitting isn't always failing. Sometimes it's the smartest and most courageous option. Thanks for joining me on this 5-Minute Friday, on this exploration of the sunk cost fallacy. And, you know, when you recognize the mental trap, you can make choices that are better, right? What's truly best for us, not just the time and the money we already invested. Now you go out there, make some sunk cost free decisions, and until next time, keep hoping, but more importantly, keep planning. Stay safe. Know that hope ignites and action transforms. Thank you all for listening on Apple, Spotify, whatever platform you're on. Please leave a review, share the show. Go to hopesnotaplan.com, at hopesnotaplan on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook. We have a YouTube channel creeping up on 400,000 views. Thanks so much. I wish you all Godspeed.